Questions did you see on page 29 and 30 that you need me to maybe go over? Go ahead.
Number
6, you got it. All right. Number 6, we have this. Okay, so we want to write the inequality in words and then graph it. Okay, so x is greater than 4.25. And then they wanted it graphed. So if you have 0 here, you'd have 4.25 here. You have just, this is going to be an open circle here, and we want numbers bigger than that, so that's going to infinity. And then if they wanted it in interval notation, you would write it like this, 4.25, comma, going to infinity. So you only had to take it to there, but I gave you the extra interval notation just in case. Other questions on the homework?
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So if the letter is first, this arrow points the direction you shade. So once you've solved the letter, if the letter's first, it's going to tell you the direction you're going to shade. And if it's this or this, it's going to be an open dot. If it's this or this, it's going to be a closed dot because you include it. So this would be used in parentheses. This would be used in a square bracket. A square bracket means you include it. Okay. Any other questions on page 29 and 30? Yeah. 19, sure. Number 19. Solve for the, okay, this is the solving one. 19. We got y plus, and then parentheses, y plus 3 equals 2y minus 5 plus 10. Okay? I can go ahead and just drop these parentheses over here because I'm not distributing anything over them. Same with these, they can just drop. And then I can start combining like terms. So I'm going to combine that and that. That's 2y, and then the plus 3 comes down. And then I get 2y, combine those, plus 5. Whoa. Undo. That's an equal sign. 2y plus 5. So if I subtract 2y from both sides, I wind up with 3 equals 5. That's not the big mystery of life. That's no solution. Okay. Anything else on? Yeah.
5.
5. All right. So we would like to write the sentence. So x is less than or equal to -7. And then if you put it on a number line, 0 is here, -7 is down here. It's a solid dot. I want values that are less, so it's shading this way. And then if you wanted to write it in interval notation, which you didn't ask, but negative infinity, we read it left to right, so we go from negative infinity to -7, and a square bracket there. It's not a square bracket on infinity because you can't get there to approach it. Any other questions on the work? Yeah. 14. The number of suitcases lost by an airline is at least 93 per day. Ooh, my gosh. Okay. That stinks, getting your luggage lost. So at least 19. So x would be greater than or equal to 19 because you're losing at least 19. Could be more. 93. 93. Thank you. That's a 93. And then define the variable inequality and do it in interval notation. So this graphically, if you want 0, 93, solid dot going this way. So interval notation would start at 93 and go to infinite, which, can you really have infinite luggage? And the answer is no. So this would actually be, this would be a discrete, because it would end. If it ends, I mean, there's not infinite luggage. Though there could be an awful lot, but it's not infinite. A-okay? Everyone content? Happy? Life's good? Will you make sure your name is on that and pass that as well as anything else forward? Please. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh. I'll take care of it. I'm gonna skip you. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. All right. So that note sheet I handed y'all, I don't have my, I have to read off this because I didn't have it set up on my computer. I apologize. So hope it's okay. I'm on the board. So we just did SLI number 1, homework number 1, solving multi-step inequalities. So if we look at the third slide, which is the bottom left-hand side slide, it says solving inequalities. I am thinking of a number, double it, add 10, and it's now greater than 24. Ooh. I'm thinking of a number, double it, add 10, and now it's greater than 24. What could my original numbers be? So how would I solve this? Does anyone know how we solve these? We treat the inequality just like an equal sign. So I'm going to get to that. Did it go out? Oh.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. I'm right here, Freddie.
We should turn on the light.
I know. It's going a million miles an hour. Let's see if we can bring it back up.
I'm scared.
Freddie, I'm still here for you, buddy.
It's louder than the car. I would actually turn that off.
No.
Some like, some like,
It's
some.
your bulb. It's out.
Yeah, your bulb's out.
Brand new projector.
No class for today.
I guess all the bulbs are out. It's just all the lights and that thing went out too.
It's coming.
So is EMP.
Yo, someone cursed at me. Freddie, get out of class.
I need.
Okay, bye guys.
Freddie's the reason why this happened.
We just can't have nice things, I guess.
I really don't believe. Like this. And not just
Always messy.
try to turn on the light.
There we go. All right.
Oh,
We're okay.
Misha, can I get some
We're okay.
the notes? I don't
No,
have
no.
the notes.
All right. What?
The notes. Are these ones?
These right here. Yeah, that's it. All right. So we have that. Should be hopefully clearing up in a sec. So how are 2 and x being held together right here? Multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So x has to be greater than 7 for this math problem to work. Okay. All right. Now we're going to be graphing some inequality. So we have problem 1. We have x. There she goes.
Jesus.
I've already got the first question down.
Hit those lights, would you? All right.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm a big boy now.
Going old school. Go on the whiteboard. We can handle it.
And now we're starting to take notes.
Now I can't write on here.
I'm a big boy now.
Alright. So that first question on there says x minus 5 is greater than 10. Correct?
Yep.
And they want us to graph it, and then they want us to write it in interval notation. Okay? So, again, we're going to treat this just like an inequality or an equal sign. So I'll have a dotted line, so I'll add 5 to both sides. So I get x is greater than 15. So what are some numbers that are greater than 15? 16, right? 17, 18, 19. So if I put this on a graph number line, I have 0 here, I have 15 here. I'm going to have an open dot at 15. Open dot at 15.
It's alive. It's alive.
It's gonna turn off.
I don't know what's going on. Something's going on with the fuse or something.
We should like unplug it and make sure it won't turn on again.
All right.
In my life.
So I have this. This is what this means. This is pointing to that is going to infinity. Okay? So when I talk about interval notation, so I'll call that IN, interval notation, you read it from left to right. So I'm going from 15 to infinity. Do I include the 15? Is there an equal sign? So no. So it's a rounded bracket. I can never get to infinity, so it's a rounded bracket that way. Okay?
What is that for?
I don't know. We'll do this though. Now, be scared if it turns on now. It's good. If it comes back on now, we leave. Got it? And we leave no one behind. We just bail. All right, can I erase that one? All right, my next problem I have is this. X plus 8 is less than or equal to 4. Agree? Again, I treat the inequality sign just like I treat it just like an equal sign. So how do I get x by itself? What do I have to do?
Minus 8.
Good. Subtract 8 from both sides. Those cancel, so I get x still less than or equal to. What is 4 minus 8? Negative 4. So what are values that are smaller than negative 4? Negative 5, negative 6, right? On a number line, if I have 0 here and I have negative 4 on the left side, I'm going to have a solid dot. The reason it's solid is because it's equal to, and this is going this way. And where this is going to negative infinity.
Negative. How is negative?
Because you're assigning a positive or negative component. So interval notation, you're going to read from left to right. So you're going from negative infinity to negative 4. You can never get to negative infinity, so that's rounded. But I go negative 4, so I have a square bracket there. It's a square bracket because I have an equal sign. What are you confused on? The square bracket? So are you good here on making a number line? Does that make sense? So all I'm doing is this. Anytime you go to negative infinity or you go to infinity, it's going to be a rounded bracket because I can't get there. I can't count high enough to get there or count low enough. So this could be an end and this could be a start depending upon which way your graph went. If you have like that, you have a square bracket when you have that. If you just have this or this, it's a rounded bracket for your start or end point. Yeah?
So when the circle is filled, it's a square bracket.
It's a square bracket, exactly right. So if you have that equal sign there, that means that circle is full. That means that has to be a square bracket. But the infinity, because I can never get there, stays that way. So let's see if we can figure out the next one. Is that all right? Can I move on? You good? You guys have those. Go get your phones. You have those fancy light bulb things you can do, right?
What if they Algebra? Do we run faster?
We run faster and get ice cream.
Are you buying?
Sure.
Okay.
Someone get the lights to turn off. Someone go find the fuse breaker. All right. Again, I'm going to treat this as an equal sign. So what should I do to start getting 11 by itself? Or x by itself?
Plus 3. I mean,
What?
minus 3.
Minus 3, right? So 11 subtract 3 is how much? 8. How do I get x by itself? How are 2 and x being held together? Multiplication, so I'm going to divide each side, right? So x is less than 4. Let's put this on a number line. If I have 0 here and I have 4 here, is it an open dot or a closed dot? It's open because I don't have the equal sign. I have an open dot. I want values that are less than 4. What are values less than 4?
3.
3.
1. 11. Negative 22.
All right, so we're going this way. So where does this way get to? Negative infinity, right? Okay, so let's write this as interval notation now. I'm going to read it left to right. I'm coming from negative infinity. As I go to the right, I get up to 4. Now I want values that are less than 4, and it's a rounded bracket because I don't have an equal sign there. Okay?
I don't speak math.
You don't speak math? Me either. Aren't you glad that we don't have, aren't you glad we don't use Roman numerals anymore? Because you ask somebody for their phone number, you're like, I-V-V-I-I-V-V-I-X.
So you're going to tell me your high school crush now?
It's not
No.
my fault.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
What are you talking about?
Square bracket.
Oh.
I don't know.
When you need square bracket is when you have the equal sign.
It's already.
Assuming whoever it is.
Didn't work.
All right. Now let's make it a little bit harder. No, whatever you do, don't do that. Sorry.
Yeah, let's go.
That's a little inside voice. I let it come outside.
Do you do inside voices at home too?
Yes.
Do you creep on your wife with it?
Nah, I'm married. My wife and kids don't pay attention to me.
How many kids do you have? That's kind of sad.
2 daughters.
Do you
Alright.
wish you had a boy?
No.
Why not? You could be doing big boy stuff.
All right. Item 1. I have the x on the right side. Agreed?
Okay.
It's always okay. It's always okay to flip over the whole thing. So arrow is pointing this way. Now I'm going to make it point this way. I'm just flipping the whole equation over. Is that okay? Now it's going to be done the same way, where this is like my equal sign, so I can add 3 to both sides. So I get x is greater than or equal to 9. Okay? If I draw it on a number line, I have a 0 here, I have a 9 here. Is it a solid dot or an open dot? Solid or open? Open. Solid because I got the equal sign.
You hear that?
Yeah, there's going to be a bracket.
And I'm going to go to the right. And to that right, I'm going to infinity. Agreed?
Yep.
So for interval notation, I'm going to go square bracket from 9 to infinity, and that's a rounded bracket because I can never get there. Is that okay?
Homework. 2A.
May I erase that? I'm staying on this board because I have my thing. Yeah, what's up, Freddie?
I don't know what to do.
What?
Like,
You know what's wrong with it?
It's unplugged now.
There's no way.
Like, I'm gonna have to watch a tutorial.
Who knows what's wrong with it, Freddie? Building was built in 1955. We probably have crossed wires someplace.
Broken did it?
You what?
Is it broken did it?
I just figured I'd let it stay unplugged for a little bit, and we'll try it later.
Are you going to leave next period on place too?
No, I'm going to teach for next period off that, if it works.
I guess we're special.
You guys are the quicker class, so you can catch on to me adapting. Next period, I gotta go a lot slower.
The gas
Tell a story.
Tell a story. Don't have it. All right, so I have my x's over on the other side. What can I do to the whole equation? Flip it. And if I flip the whole equation over, this sign's going to go the opposite direction. Is that okay? All right, so I can treat that as an equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. What's 12 subtract 18?
12 subtract 8.
Negative 6, yeah.
Yeah, I got it right.
Cool. And then 2 and x are being held together by how?
Multiplication.
So I'm going to divide both sides. So I'm going to get x is greater than negative 3. Good. So if I got negative 3 there, I got 0 there. Is this an open dot or a solid dot?
Open.
Open, why is that?
Because there's no equal
We
sign.
don't have an equal sign. And am I going to shade to the right or to the left?
To the left.
I want values bigger than negative 3. So I go to the right. The x first, this arrow points this same way. So I'm going to infinity. So if I write this as interval notation, I'm going to go from negative 3 with a rounded bracket because I don't include it, and I'm going to go to infinity. Seem good so far?
I think we should start like Algebra.
I don't
Life
know
good?
how to do that.
Can I erase?
Yes. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know what
I have to watch a tutorial or something.
What I do?
Huh?
I'm lost.
Who?
Who are you trying to wingman for?
Because he says on YouTube, and I don't know how to do it. Like, I just usually ask up front.
All right. So take note on this problem. I have a negative 9x. How do I get x all by itself? Divide. So I'm going to divide each side by a negative 9. If I multiply or divide by a negative, this sign has to flip over. And I get to negative 2 because 18 over negative 9 is negative 2. So the sign flips over. If you're getting your variable alone and your last step is multiplying or dividing by a negative, your sign flips over. So if I draw this on a number line, I got negative 2 here, I got 0 here. It's going to be an open dot going to the right. So going to infinity. If I write this in interval notation, it goes from negative 2 to infinity. Cool? Yep. So don't forget, if you multiply or divide by negative, make sure you flip the sign over. All right, I'm on the third page now.
If you multiply or divide.
That's exactly what we just said, right? Cool. Solve the following inequality. Write your solution in interval notation. Graph your final answer. So it looks like I have. What'd I do? 48. Thanks for watching out for me.
3 minutes.
We can break it. Negative 4y is greater than or equal to 16. What should I do to both sides?
Divide.
Divide by?
Negative 4.
If I'm divided by a negative, what happens to my inequality sign?
You switch it.
It switches. So 16 over negative 4 is negative 4. So I have negative 4 here. I got 0 here.
Going to the right.
I have a solid dot.
Bracket.
That points to the left, though. So my interval notation, I'm going from negative infinity to negative 4, square bracket. And I can squeeze this one here.
Whoa.
We good?
Yep.
All right. I think I could do this. Distribute here and here, so I get negative 2x plus 6 plus 1 is greater than 11. I can combine like terms. And then start subtracting. Let's see, subtract that. I get negative 2x is greater than 4. Divide by a negative 2. So the sign flips over. And so on a number line, this looks like this. Open dot, shading this way, going to negative infinity. Interval notation goes from negative infinity to negative 2, rounded bracket. Okay, dokay.
Okay.
So your homework tonight is 2A. which is page 31 and 32. So 2A is the worksheet. It's page 31 and 32. Unless you're printing off your things individually, then it's going to get goofy. 31, 32. And that's all I got for you. So when it hits 47, you can skedaddle. Until then, you got